In the opening hours of Operation Epic Fury, coalition forces dropped over 2,000 munitions on more than 40 targets across Iran. The media immediately focused on the high-profile strikes hitting the nuclear program. But to understand the true objective of this campaign, we have to look past those headlines and map out the systematic dismantling of Iran's internal security grid. To do this, prepare your digital mapping tool and download the raw data feeds from March 1st through March 5th, 2026. We will be pulling coordinates from ISW and CENTCOM. ISW is the Institute for the Study of War, a research organization that tracks conflict, and CENTCOM is the United States Central Command. Isolating the internal security data from the broader noise of the war exposes the coalition's underlying strategy, achieving regime change through internal destabilization. Step 1. Establish the baseline.
Drop your first set of red pins to plot the initial targets from February 28th to March 3rd, focusing on central Tehran. Plot the highest value targets first, the Supreme National Security Council, followed immediately by the Khamenei Leadership Compound. Next, map the Assembly of Experts. This is the 88-member clerical body entirely responsible for appointing the supreme leader and managing the regime's succession planning. Add the Natanz nuclear sites to your map. This demonstrates the sheer breadth of the initial neutralization phase. This dense cluster of red pins shows the immediate establishment of air superiority and the total paralysis of national leadership. Achieving this was the absolute prerequisite for moving on to target the internal security forces. With the baseline set, add a new layer to your map and switch to yellow pins. We are now going to plot the analytical brains of the regime's security network. Start by plotting the 10 separate intelligence ministry command centers. These are clustered tightly within the city limits of Tehran. Expand your yellow pins outward to include the IRGC Quds Force facility in the capital, and then move northwest to plot the IRGC Ashura headquarters, located in Tabriz. We can verify the direct impact of these strikes by checking the casualty reports. The data confirms the elimination of key personnel at these sites, specifically the Intelligence Ministry's Internal Security Deputy. Grouping these yellow targets to Veller exposes a deliberate, surgical effort. The coalition intentionally blinded the regime's ability to coordinate its internal defense and gather intelligence on its citizens. Create another layer and switch to blue pins to map the physical forces responsible for protest suppression. Notice how these units fit into the hierarchy. Both the local militias and the LEC, the Law Enforcement Command, report directly to the IRGC, or the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. The most visible physical muscle of the regime is the Basij militia. This paramilitary group has a long, documented history of urban control and violent protest suppression. Drop blue pins on the 5th and 15th Tehran Municipality Quds Basij Resistance Regional Bases, and add a third pin for the Kiyashahar base. To keep your data clean, do not plot Artesh bases with these blue pins. The Artesh is Iran's conventional military force, and sites like the Tabriz or Shiraz air bases belong in your red pin military layer, not your internal security layer. The kinetic reality of these strikes is severe. Satellite imagery confirms massive bunker buster impacts directly on these urban Tehran Basij sites, leveling the compounds entirely. Tracking these specific blue pens proves the coalition is actively and systematically destroying the regime's physical capacity to suppress its own citizens inside the capital. Now, zoom your map out from Tehran. We are going to plot the regional security centers across the country, continuing with the blue pins. First, plot the Law Enforcement Command headquarters, located in the western cities of Khorramabad, Sarablea, and Sanandaj. Next, plot the secondary wave of LEC sites hit in Noorabad, Pave, and Marivan. The tactical fallout of hitting these regional sites is immediate. Following the destruction of the Marivan LEC headquarters, local sources reported mass jailbreaks as the local security apparatus collapsed. This regional mapping uncovers a strategy designed to shatter provincial policing. By destroying these specific command centers, the coalition is intentionally creating power vacuums across Iran's highly volatile border regions. Finally, transition to the last element of the regime's control grid, the state media and propaganda apparatus. Drop your final set of pins directly on the IRIB headquarters in Tehran. The IRIB is the state-controlled Islamic Republic of Iran Broadcasting Corporation.
The IRIB is vital for maintaining narrative control. It allows the government to project authority and broadcast directives to the population during a national crisis. By isolating and destroying this propaganda arm, the coalition completes a four-layered siege, targeting leadership, intelligence, physical security, and narrative control. Zoom out and look at the completed map in its totality. When you fade out the red pins representing the military and nuclear targets, you see the truth of the operation. This is a visualized, systematic decapitation of an internal control grid. The coalition bypassed conventional military projection to aggressively dismantle the exact infrastructure the regime relies on to control the civilian population. Save your OSNT project here. Next time, we will use this exact map to plot Iran's retaliatory drone strikes across the Gulf, which is the only way to track the fallout of the war's next phase.